There's a secret formula for turning video games into hit movies, but only a few writers seem to know it, and they're using it to dominate the box office. I did some digging, rewatched the movies, replayed the games, and figured out their secret. Today, we're talking about Sonic 3 and how it and its predecessors became one of the biggest game-to-movie franchises out there. It's not about rehashing existing stories or using nostalgic moments to drive views. It's about creating a movie with a narrative that gives a nod to the lore and gives fans a unique look into the world they've grown to know. There are 3 steps to the winning formula, so let's get into it. First, familiarity. The first Sonic the Hedgehog movie nailed this. It gave fans exactly what they wanted, Sonic being fast, funny, and full of heart. The movie stayed true to the basics while throwing in some nice nods to the games like Green Hill Zone and Sonic Super Speed. It wasn't over the top with nostalgia, but it gave enough to make fans feel like the people behind it actually cared. Second, the movie needs a fresh idea. Sonic's story wasn't bogged down by complicated game lore. Instead, it focused on something simple and relatable: friendship and belonging. Sonic wasn't just a video game character, he was someone audiences could connect with.
There's so much stuff I've never done.
Add Jim Carrey's chaotic take on Dr. Robotnik, and suddenly you had a movie that felt fun, unpredictable, and different. It worked.
I just thought you might like a latte with steamed Austrian goat milk.
What do I look like, an imbecile? Of course I want a latte. I love the way you make them!
Third and finally, an emotional core. A successful franchise-based movie isn't just about action and well-placed references. It's about creating a companion world to the one that already exists. The story needs to evoke real emotions, whether it's excitement, joy, or even sadness. If the audience doesn't feel something, the movie becomes forgettable. The Sonic movies nail this by giving their characters real emotional arcs. But let's take a look at what not to do. The Borderlands movie is a textbook example of how a game adaptation can go horribly wrong. Unlike Sonic, which carefully balanced familiarity, fresh ideas, and an emotional core, Borderlands fell short on almost every front. At first glance, it seemed like it might deliver what fans wanted: familiar characters, a chaotic world, and over-the-top humor. But once you scratch the surface, the cracks start to show. Take Lilith, one of the main characters in the Borderlands games. Fans know her as a powerful siren with incredible abilities and a deep backstory. In the movie, her siren powers are barely mentioned, and her story feels hollow, making her character feel like an empty shell of what fans expected. Then there's the villain. Instead of using one of the game's iconic antagonists, like Handsome Jack, who fans love to hate, the filmmakers created a brand new villain who had zero connection to the games. It left viewers wondering if the people behind the movie had even played Borderlands, or if they were just cashing in on the name. This lack of respect for the source material didn't go unnoticed. Fans quickly realized the film wasn't made for them. It was made to ride the franchise's popularity. The result? A movie that bombed spectacularly, bringing in just $33 million against a $120 million budget. It's a perfect example of how ignoring the core elements that made the games great can lead to disaster. If the filmmakers had followed the simple formula of respecting the source, creating real emotional depth, and staying true to what fans love, they could have created a multi-movie franchise that could bring in millions over the years. Instead, Borderlands became yet another cautionary tale of what happens when a movie focuses on quick cash instead of long-term connection with its audience. It's no shock that the Sonic producers knew what they were doing. The first movie made $320 million in box office sales, and when Sonic 2 rolled around, it brought in another whopping $400 million. The studio didn't just throw Tails and Knuckles for the sake of it. They gave both characters real roles in the story. Tails wasn't just a sidekick, he was Sonic's emotional anchor. Knuckles brought humor, strength, and his own storyline about trust and loyalty. The movie felt bigger and bolder, but still kept the heart that made the first one great, and when the post-credit scene teased Shadow the Hedgehog, fans lost their minds. It wasn't just a teaser, it was a promise that the next movie would dive even deeper into the Sonic universe. Now, Sonic 3 is here, and it proves the team behind these films knows exactly what they're doing. Shadow's introduction is a big deal. Keanu Reeves voices him, and it's everything fans hoped for. Shadow isn't just a darker version of Sonic. He's complicated with a tragic backstory and unclear motives.
Shadow's story began a lot like your Sonic. Shadow found only pain and loss.
He's more than a rival. He pushes Sonic emotionally, forcing him to grow in new ways. This movie isn't just about high-speed chases, it's about dealing with loss, identity, and figuring out who you are. Carey's wild performances, not only as Dr. Robotnik, but also his grandfather, Gerald Robotnik, balances out Shadow's serious tone, keeping things fun and fast-paced. Shadow's chaos control abilities look amazing, and the final battle is exactly what fans were hoping for. Speaking of Keanu Reeves and Jim Carrey, the Sonic movies nail the balance when it comes to casting big-name actors. The focus isn't on star power for marketing, it's about finding the right fit for the story. Bringing in big names should only happen when it adds something meaningful, and with Sonic, it works. Jim Carrey, Keanu Reeves, and Idris Elba all bring their characters to life in a way that feels genuine. Sure, not every casting choice will be as spot on as Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool, but at the end of the day, it's about making a movie for the fans, not just boosting ticket sales. Filmmakers can learn from the Sonic franchise. With a nearly $1 billion combined box office success and a fourth movie on its way, Sonic has gone beyond just a simple franchise-based trilogy. As long as they keep things fresh while staying true to what fans love, the possibilities are endless. So what's the secret, you ask? Well, to my surprise, it's not really a secret at all. It's been right in front of us the whole time, but somehow producers kept missing it. The secret is simple: respect the fans, don't get greedy, and put real heart into the script. Sounds easy, right? Yet it rarely happens. But when it does, like with Sonic and Inside Out 2, those movies dominate the box office, sending a clear message about what audiences want. Unfortunately, producers will only get that message when the veil comes off. That's exactly what I'm trying to do with this channel. I rewrite flop movies into masterpieces, hoping that someday the greedy producers will realize the true potential of their movies they keep ruining. The more people who watch these rewrites, the harder it'll be for them to ignore. So if this is a cause you want to support, check out one of my rewrites now and subscribe.